Joining us is our friend Howard Beck here on the show. Howard, good morning.
Damon, how are you?
I'm doing great, man, as always. Thanks so much for joining us. Kendrick Perkins says he believes the Brooklyn Nets are the front runners right now for Kevin Durant. Do you believe that?
Everybody's a reporter now. Everybody's got sources.
Yeah. Perk has sources, yes.
I mean, maybe. I mean, listen, if anybody thinks they know, this is not throwing shade at Perk or anybody else. If anybody thinks they know where these guys are going, I mean, more power to them. I don't think anybody truly knows. I'm not sure the players themselves truly know yet. That moment of truth is coming soon enough. But, Durant has many options and many variables, and more variables than he had a few weeks ago because of the Achilles. And, if you asked the question of where is Kevin Durant going in January, February, March, or April, it was he's leaving and he's going to the Knicks, and Kyrie's probably going with him. And that was almost an article of faith around the NBA, no matter who you asked. But that's not where we are anymore. Kyrie Irving is, by all appearances, going to go to the Brooklyn Nets, who are going to swallow hard if it's just him without somebody coming with him. And if KD truly wants to play with Kyrie and team up somewhere, well, it's clearly not going to be, in New York, then it's going to be in Brooklyn. And, so there's a logic to it, but I'm not ready to sit here and say that that's an automatic. He's got the Achilles. He's got to decide where is he rehabbing next season. He's not playing in this coming season. He would just do not expect to see Kevin Durant in the 2019-2020 season. He's going to sit out a year. And so wherever he goes, they either have to have a second star who can carry it by himself for a year without him, with enough of a supporting cast to do that. And I think the Nets are built to do that, to compete at least. They were a playoff team this year. But that other star is going to do it alone for a year. Or Kevin Durant's got to go to a team where, maybe like the Clippers, where, hey, they made the playoffs without any all-stars. And you can wait it out a year, and when you come back, you've got a ready-made supporting cast. You can stay with the Warriors and rehab on their dime, and you know what you're coming back to when you're ready to play again. But it really is a matter of, these days it's not always just about who can you win with. It's about where do you want to be, what's best for your off-court businesses and your brand and all this other stuff, or lifestyle. And that's why we hear these guys constantly tied to teams that are not necessarily as good as the teams they're leaving.
There was a report that Kyrie Irving, if he decided to come to the Brooklyn Nets and there was not another big fish, the Nets actually wouldn't be interested in just that. And I found that surprising because I would think that the Nets would take Kyrie even if they couldn't get a secondary star along with him. Do you believe that the Nets would say thanks but no thanks to Kyrie?
I think it would be difficult to do that, but I also think that, Kyrie comes with some caveats. This is not a clean transaction when you decide to make Kyrie Irving the face of your franchise. If he's the linchpin to Kevin Durant, then by all means, sign Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant together if that's what it takes to get Kevin Durant. And it's not to say that that's the only reason to sign him. It's just that Kyrie Irving by himself has already shown us that that's not a great path forward for your franchise. I wrote a column 2 years ago that, Celtics fans in particular were very upset at when they made the trade for Kyrie Irving. And I said, listen, as talented as he is, here's what I'm hearing from people around the league, scouts, executives, others, that Kyrie Irving, the concern at that point was, are you going to make him your franchise star in Boston? And this was at the time, they're obviously trading, Isaiah Thomas, who was rehabbing at that point, and that package for Kyrie Irving. Is he the guy to build around? Because what you'd hear from people in Cleveland very definitively was he was moody. He was, a little difficult. Obviously some selfish streaks on offense, obviously some flakiness on defense, and he just wasn't viewed as necessarily a great playmaker or a dedicated playmaker and leader. And so, lo and behold, here we are 2 years later, the Celtics are like saying, see you later. Or he's saying see you later to them, or it's mutual, whatever. But clearly they had a difficult time this season. Their chemistry was screwy. It's not all on Kyrie Irving, but the questions about his leadership suddenly are paramount. So if you're the Brooklyn Nets and you had one point guard, D'Angelo Russell, who just kind of blossomed finally on your watch and who also had some character concerns and personality concerns, Are you flipping him for a more talented but also more fraught version? That's the concern.
Howard Beck joins, senior NBA writer, senior NBA reporter for Bleacher Report. You also hear him and see him on NBA TV and NBA radio. So I wonder about Kawhi Leonard's success with the Toronto Raptors. Do you think that acquisition, kind of a bold swing by Masai Ujiri, has emboldened other franchises to take big swings, even if it just means one-year windows to win?
I like that theory, and I've espoused that theory myself, that the lesson of this season should be, when in doubt, do what you got to do to get the guy, even if there's a threat of him walking after a year. And that Paul George is a lesser version of this example, but same principle. The Thunder took a swing, got Paul George. Everybody thought he was going to go to L.A. He didn't. He resigned. They're the better for it. And so the bold teams, the teams that are confident in themselves and what they've built and their ability to sell a guy and just giving a guy a reason to stay. Hey, look, you're going to fall so much in love with this franchise, our coaching staff, our medical staff, our just general structure, that you're never going to want to leave here. You're going to love being here. And I think the Raptors have done that pretty convincingly with Kawhi, and obviously, winning a championship doesn't hurt. But they had built a lot of equity even just over the course of the season. That all said, look, if you were the Memphis Grizzlies, could you have gone all in on getting Anthony Davis if you had Jaren Jackson, the second pick in the draft, and some other stuff? Memphis Grizzlies could have made a pretty good play, really interesting play for Anthony Davis. Was Anthony Davis ever going to stay in Memphis? You're probably not. They might not have had a lot left to put around him either. So easy for you and I to both say, be bold, be confident, believe in yourself and your franchise to sell a guy, and don't be put off by the expiring contract. But the reality is most guys want to be, in certain markets or have some say over where they're going to go. And there are certain markets that guys generally kind of avoid. So it's more complicated than that.
Do you view the upcoming NBA season as a season where, the Warriors won't be contenders, so it's kind of wide open, and that might be the start of the Warriors no longer being the dominant presence in the NBA? Or do you view the next season as a one-year blip and then the Warriors go back to being the machine once Klay Thompson is healthy, perhaps 2021?
I don't want to be pessimistic about this toward the Warriors, and this is not by any stretch a statement of a lack of faith in the Warriors, because Bob Myers is fantastic and Steve Kerr is a great coach and their ownership is really committed. And I think there's all the possibility in the world that we'll see them contend again. That said, the reality is this. Their breakthrough season when they won their first championship was done with Steph, Klay, and Draymond pretty young, early prime, and with Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala playing major roles, and Leandro Barbosa and all these guys, and they were strength in numbers, and they just found the exact right formula, and they won a championship. And they lose the next year. Then they get Kevin Durant, and now it's a different version of them. It's no longer really strength in numbers. It's strength in 4 All-Stars. Well, one of those guys is recovering from an Achilles and may not play for the Warriors ever again anyway, in Durant. One guy's recovering now from a torn ACL in Klay Thompson, and we probably won't see him next season. Steph and Draymond are getting older. Draymond at times this season looked like he was already post-prime. And then Draymond became Draymond again after losing all that weight and being amazing in the playoffs. The question is, in October of 2020, when Klay Thompson is back, if he's not back sooner, then back by at a minimum then, is Draymond Green, who's going to be a free agent in the summer of 2020, is Draymond Green still a Warrior? Is Draymond Green the version that we just saw in the finals, or the version we saw for parts of this season where he didn't look like an elite defender anymore? And is that core of Steph, Klay, Dre still enough? Can they find the strength in numbers to put around that group again without Kevin Durant? There's a lot of questions, and there's cap considerations and all that too, because Steph and Klay are going to be making the max, and Draymond, if he's still there, will be making the max or close to it. That's going to make it really, really difficult. And so my general sense is, we might have seen the end of this dynasty. And it's not to say they couldn't revive it. It's not to say that they can't find a way forward. And they will do everything possible to do that. but it's tough. And everybody else, obviously, is not standing still in this league.
Howard Beck joins us on the verge of free agency coming up this weekend. Final question, Howard. There's been a lot made that this is the most seismic summer ever for the NBA, but we are always prone to hyperbole in 2019. Do you think that this really is the craziest, most important summer ever in the NBA?
No, it'll be up there. But look, the summer that Kevin Durant left Oklahoma for the Warriors was pretty seismic. LeBron James leaving Cleveland for Miami in 2010, along with Chris Bosh, was seismic as all seismic gets. I mean, that kicked off this entire era of superstars and all-stars feeling like, I'm just going to go wherever I want. I'm not going to worry about backlash or thoughts about, quaint thoughts about loyalty or any of these other things. I'm just going to go where I'm happy or where I think I can win or where my family wants to be, whatever. So the summer of 2010 to me is where everything changed in this league. And so no matter how many guys change teams this summer, if they do, I still don't think it's as seismic as what LeBron James established by breaking that old norm back in 2010.
Howard Beck joins us this morning on the show. Not only can you read him at Bleacher Report, but also listen to the Full 48. That's his podcast with NBA insiders, writers, and he's done a lot of really cool ones recently. Had Chris Mannix on about the AD trade. Had a breakdown of the draft with Jonathan Wasserman, and just kind of up and down, a great NBA podcast to listen to, the Full 48 with Howard Beck. And, of course, with free agency coming up this weekend, you'll definitely want to be tapped into that, so you can follow Howard on Twitter as well for the latest on free agency. It's always good to catch up, my man. Thanks, as always, for doing it.